Well, hello there, and welcome to the Zwift Power Up Cycling Podcast. A slightly different type of episode today, focusing on 6 days. So, joined by Weapon Henderson. How you doing, my man?
Hey, mate. Good to join you again. And let's have a chat about the latest one, the London 6 day.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come on to the rugby in a moment. But also here with Dani. Hello.
Hello.
Greg, what happened to New Zealand, mate? I mean, silenced by the English.
New Zealand is literally in depression. Like, I think New Zealand economy is it's just gonna go down the gurgler for the next 4 years until the next Rugby World Cup. It's just unbelievable. But to be fair, the English were just incredible, weren't they? They just absolutely were just unbeatable. Yeah, they just came out on a mission. It was like a one-off best game that they've ever had in their lives, and that's what they had to do to beat the All Blacks, unfortunately. And they just put New Zealand in depression.
Yeah, obviously we're playing you next weekend, Wales, New Zealand. That should be the final, really, shouldn't it? That's all the fans really care about.
Excuse me, I'm English, sat over here. Thank you. Although it is really hard for me, actually, this whole English Wales thing, because obviously I've got the best of both worlds because I'm English, but I am a loyal Welsh girl as well. I am an honorary Welsh girl, so I would have just preferred it to be an England-Wales final, and then I could have crossed that bridge when it came to it in terms of who I supported.
Hang on a sec. You live in Wales, I'm Welsh, and you rode for Wales in the Commonwealth Games, so you got to back Wales.
And one of my best friends plays for the Welsh team, or her husband does anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Enough about rugby. Yeah. But today is another event-based podcast, hence Dani joining us. And that event, as we said, is the London 6 day. So you've obviously ridden a 6 day before.
Yeah,
correct?
I've ridden one or two of them. Copenhagen, Berlin, Noumea. But they're a hard event. They're a long event, 6 days. And they're just action-packed.
Say Berlin actually is the longest 6 day in terms of when it was established. I think it's how many. I did write down on a bit of paper earlier. I think it's like 103. Yeah, 103 editions. Berlin. So that's kind of like held the most. It's been the longest standing 6 day. That's pretty cool. And Dani, you've ridden just London?
Yeah, so it's a bit different for the women, actually, especially in London. So the women only come in on the Friday, so it's technically only a 3 day for them. They do have Madison races, but they also have an Omnium within the Madison competition. So, yeah, that's the only 6 day I've ever ridden in London.
Pretty cool, though. And I rode Little Ghent. I say Little Ghent because there's two tracks in Ghent. Big Ghent, which is 250 metres, and Little Ghent, which is like 161 or something. Anyways, it's tiny. Rode a UIV, which is basically under 23 competition with Ian Stannard actually in 2005. Awesome. And typical, young riders like 20, 21, 22 years old, all you care about is that bike race at that moment, and it's like crash city. So if you're
that was what it was like in London, actually. There was an under 21s, I think it was called, event that ran alongside the elite men's 6 day, and there were a lot of crashes.
Yeah. But for you listeners, if you're wondering what a 6 day is, I've done a little bit of research and actually learned a good few things myself as well. So the first 6 day event was actually an individual time trial event, and it was held in London. So 6 days actually originated in London back in 1878, when a professional cyclist at the time called David Stanton basically sought a bet that you could ride 1,000 miles in 6 consecutive days, literally non-stop. Obviously, you'd have little breaks here and there. And he done it. He won the bet, and that was the first ever 6 day. But they didn't really kick off until a bit later, like 12 years later, 1891, when New York held its first 6 day in Madison Square Gardens, of course, where initially one-man teams, or is it one man a team, or is it just single riders? Well, one-man teams would complete as many laps as possible over 6 days. So basically you can stop when you like, you can sleep when you like, eat when you like, but over the course of 6 days, days and nights, you've just got to keep riding and accumulate as many laps as possible. And that's where those cabins come from. So you see 6-day riders, generally sit in their teams in cabins. That's where the cabins are from. And you basically live in them for 6 days. A little bit later, after that, about 10 years of 24 hours a day cycling, the organisers wanted to look after riders' health and well-being, and a rule was brought in where a rider could only compete for 12 hours a day, so forcing 12 hours of rest, which is where a little innovation come from 6-day organisers, which led to 2-man teams. And 2-man teams were basically taken in turns to ride and clock up as many laps as possible, which ultimately led to the Madison event being born. And it's called the Madison because it was first run in Madison Square Gardens.
Whoa, that's really interesting. I didn't actually know that. That's a pretty cool stat there.
And basically grew from there into Europe and to the event it's known today. So it all originally started in London, then it went to New York where it really kicked off. The Madison event got called the Madison, and then come to Europe, and it's what we know today. So we got a bunch of events. So the Madison is the two rider event where you hold hands basically. Team elimination. What you like of those, Greg? That must be an event up your street.
It's a great event.
A lot of argy-bargy.
It's a great event, and it's all about positioning, isn't it? You've got to. It's really hard to win those races from the back of the field. If you've got a good teammate, you're really confident in your exchanges, then it's a really exciting event. Actually, it's super fast.
And how would you describe a Dani race as well? This is also what goes into 6 days. What is a Dani race?
They're actually harder than you think. They're actually you end up putting on quite a large gear, and you've got to have a lot of trust in your driver, and it's basically up to him. You can call him, but you want your driver to get you as close, hold you in a position. Like for half the race, you can't afford to start off too easy. You've got to be in a position for at least the first half of the race, and then you can start to move. And when you attack, you often attack 10, 15 laps out. Like that's actually a move. It's not, and it takes 5 laps to make your attack because you're high on the track. That's what the blue line on the actual velodrome is for. That's your stayers line. So that's where your motorbike driver, you pass above that line and you race at the front of the race below that line. So that's what that actual line on the velodrome's for. But you'll see the guys when they attack, they start 15 laps out, 10 laps out, and they can almost win the race from that long range attack.
Obviously, some of the speed as well. As you're saying, you're literally riding behind a motorbike for the whole event, or Dani. Obviously, you're in the slipstream. You're hitting speeds of well over 70k an hour.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're coping at that speed. You've got a lot of G-forces, obviously, every time you're going to the banking. 70, 75k an hour when they're probably hitting the finals. When they're maxed out at the end there, it's probably close to 80k's an hour. So it's they're actually really, really hard events. It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zwift actually made a brief appearance at the 6-day too, holding some racing in the centre of the track for some under-21s and elite women. And you actually caught up, Dani, with the winners of the was it Wednesday night, the young lads?
Yeah. So a couple of the lads, the under-21s who did the Zwift racing, the e-racing, as part of the 6-day, actually. So they'd already raced earlier in the day, and then they had a double day, essentially. They loved it. It was actually one of their first time ever on Zwift, so it was really interesting to hear their thoughts on it after.
And we'll come into all that in a moment, but I guess because you've got so many chats, Dani, this podcast is pretty much going to be playing those chats back to back. So just to go through the riders that who do you chat to all in all?
Yeah, so it's absolutely amazing to speak to so many riders in London. So yeah, again, we are going to crack on and listen to these interviews soon. But I got to speak to Elia Viviani, Cav himself,
weapon,
Theo Reinhardt,
weapon,
and Max Bayer, the German world champions, Yuri Havik, Wim Schottinger from the Netherlands, 2 women, Katie Archibald, Rachele Barbieri, the Italian ex-scratch world champion, Red Walters and William Roberts, who are the under-21s who ended up racing on Zwift as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're all weapons. And you spoke to the winners, for the winners of the women's event. Katie, Archibald, and her partner with Neil Evans. And Viviani and his partner. So good picking there. Got the right interviews.
Yeah, I did.
You're a busy girl.
Yeah, they were super interesting. I was very busy.
Well, let's get into it then. So you're going to have about 50 odd minutes back to back of a load of interesting chat with all those riders. Here we go.
Hello, so I'm here at London 6 Day ahead of 6 days of exciting track racing. Delighted to welcome Elia Viviani as our first Zwift podcast guest. Welcome to London.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be back at the London Velodrome?
To be honest, so it's a long story with the London Velodrome, so not a lot of satisfaction inside this velodrome, but I'm here to change this this result, because I think already I love really this city, and the first experience here was Olympic, so yeah, for sure I never forget this experience. So good memories are on this period, for sure not the result for I race. So I finished 6th in that Olympic, and then the words before Rio Olympic was another point really hard to pass, but now I'm here and I want really to enjoy the 6 days. It's totally different race, but
So here to turn the bad memories of London into a good memory.
Yeah, I think with the city I already turned this year, because I win London Classic, so it was one of my biggest goal of this season. So after the tour, really concentrated 7 days to arrive in London and try to win this really nice race. I loved this race from when I do the Olympics in 2012. So I really like the course, and I hope to have turned already this memory. And like I say, I love London, so I'm really happy to be here.
Amazing. So it's a Madison race essentially. Who's your partner for this week?
Simone Consonni. So we start mainly from this point, and the first race was last Sunday, so to prepare the Olympics. So Madison is back on the Olympic program, so that is a really exciting news. And as everyone know, the Madison is really a race for a couple, so you need to be really on it, not just the strongest. You need to be really have a good feeling each other. So that is a real point of the Madison. You need for sure the legs, but you need to have a good feeling with your teammates, and the 6 days is the best place where you can find it, because 6 days all together, twice Madison each night, so it's gonna be really a long week, but for sure a funny week.
And as both of you are road and track riders, is it hard to prepare for the track with such a long road season? Have you been on the track much in preparation for this? It's a perfect period this for us. I decided to come to this 6 days this year because that match really perfect with my program. So after the road season, I just take a small break. I know I have the condition still on, and I really enjoy the track racing. So always when I go back on the track, and it's not heavy for my head. That is a good point. So I really enjoy it, and the track now is so specific. So we come from the road with a good condition, but still we can't manage to be there. So we see last week in European. So we finished 6th, and was not the result we hoped for, but that's mean the track level is so high. So the track rider are really specifically ready for it, and we need some time, but I think the engine is there, so we just need to work on it. And I guess for you, being a pure sprinter on the road, it's easier to transfer to the track because it is a more sprint-orientated event. Is it the leg speed that you find the difference, or what is the main difference between the track and the road for you?
I think it's just the high rhythm of RPM. So when you jump from the road, you come from the really long season on the road, you jump on the track bike, the first thing is, okay, I can't stay with this leg speed for more than 5 minutes. So and then you start to play with the gear, but you can't go really high with the gear because you kill yourself if it is a point race or Madison where the rate continuing change. So that is the balance to found at the end of one road season. So for that I'm really confident, because after more time I spend on the track, and then easier it is. So after 2 weeks of training for the European, I'm now in my third week on the track, and for sure it's getting better and better. So some goal of this week here in London, and then next week's in the World Cups, and then the season is gone for me also.
And for 2020 Olympics, road or track?
Track, definitely. So I have so good memory from Rio, and if I'm in Rio, I say now I'm focused on the road for sure. But in the middle of Olympics years, it's 4 years where I can focus on the road also, and I'm really proud on what I do on the road. So, but 2020 is the year for the track again. So for sure you're gonna see me sprinting on the road, but August and probably July is the month for the track.
Amazing. And for tonight, is it a big expectation to win, to start with a win and then carry on from there? Or are you having a bit of fun this week? What is the main focus?
The first night is always the night where you need to understand who is the strongest, who can be at your level, or if you can be at the level of the winner. So I think for the first night and second night we just try to understand what we can do, and then we start to play. So the third night and the fourth are probably the main night, because day by day we are accumulate acid on the legs, and then we are ready to see who stay in the front. So and then the big final Sunday. So that's gonna be a long week, but I think we just try to manage and see how it is the first 2 nights, and then
go from there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're racing in about 30 minutes time. Good luck. Have a great week.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. So I found out last night that one of our next 2 guests went to the same college as me. I was chatting to Red Walters just before he raced on Zwift, and he told me we both studied at Barton Peveril College in the south of the UK. Small world, hey. I'm now joined by both Red and Will Roberts. Welcome, guys. How are you both?
Hi, yeah, good, thanks. Yep, very well, thank you.
Good. So, can you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself before we start?
So I'm Red Walters. I'm a road and track cyclist from down south near Southampton.
Will Roberts, again, road and track cyclist for Wales Racing Academy. 21 years old, from south of Wales near Llanelli. Or in other words, best place in the world, yeah.
I wouldn't argue that South Wales is the best place in the world, but I'm not sure about Llanelli.
Yeah.
You both actually mentioned there that you ride both the track and the road. How do you kind of split your season to both? And do you think you can actually ride, the best to the best standard in both track and road without really, really focusing on one?
So it's a tricky one for me. I've only really been riding at all for less than 4 years, and track's only been a thing for me for the last couple years. And it's hard for me to find a balance, so I think it's hard to have a really good proper track season over winter. For me, I still sort of need a bit of a break, and then a bit of a build phase before I can actually be going well for the summer, and then there's less big track races then. So my road is more of my focus.
Good question. I think it's doable definitely to be good on both, at a decent level, but I don't think you can really be the best in the world at that very, very high level. I think you have to commit to it then. But for me, I just kind of dabble with both throughout the whole year. I'm lucky enough to be able to have good access to Newport Velodrome, so I can just in the road season, middle of the summer, do one track session every 2 weeks, something like that, and I can keep some good form going on the track and the road throughout the whole year.
Okay, so one word answer here then, boys. If you could be world and Olympic champion in either track or road, what would it be?
Probably road.
And Will?
Yeah, road, yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so Will, it was your first time on Zwift last night. How was it? And do you think you will use it again?
It was good fun. I quite enjoyed it. I probably would use it again if I ever, it ever comes around in training or something like that. Just really good tool to use, I guess. I'd definitely use it again. Yeah.
I must add that Will actually won the race last night, and Red was second. Red, we know you're a keen Zwifter. What do you like about it? And how did Will end up beating you last night?
Well, it appeals to two things that I like and dislike. I hate the cold, and I love video games, so it's pretty much designed for me. I'm pretty sure I got Zwift before I got a road bike. I was like, how do I make it go?
Brilliant.
How did I lose? I don't know. Bad timing. I just you had a good sprint and a good time, so fair play. I can't argue with that.
So video games then. What's your favourite video game? Is that something that you do when you're recovering from training?
Perhaps something my parents would say I do far too much. It's not so bad at the moment, but yeah, all sorts really. The next Call of Duty comes out, I think, in 2 days, so I think my rest period's coming up in a few days as well, so you won't see me for a few weeks.
And Will, what's your favourite video game?
They're all pretty good, but I'd probably say FIFA just because it's the kind of a sociable game, if there's such a thing. Like, you can have your mates around and have a good laugh while you're doing it. So I'd probably say that.
I guess that's a good thing about cycling. You're not supposed to do anything other than train in terms of activity. So I guess it is a perfect, rest day activity. Anyway, we'll move on. You're both young riders. How did you both get into cycling?
For me, it was a weird one, actually. It was sort of just after my GCSEs, and I wanted to start like a hobby because I didn't really have anything. I was more focused on like school, and that was basically it. So I was like, okay, I want to start something, and I like things that are fast and racing, so it's cycling or remote control car racing. And I think I picked the the better one. It's a bit of a niche, remote control car racing.
Cool. And Will?
Sounds a bit cheesy, but I got inspired by the London Olympics, where you were at, doing very well. And probably from Bradley Wiggins in the Tour, just like came to the sort of forefront of my mind. It was on TV everywhere, and then decided that I wanted to go for a bike ride. My mum decided I didn't have the right helmet or something, so she took me to a bike shop, and I came back with like all the kit.
All the gear, no idea.
yeah, basically, and then joined Binya Cycling Club, and then that was pretty much it. Someone from there took a track session a few months later, and then it's just been going on since then.
So my next question was actually, who are your role models? So for you, would that be Bradley Wiggins and myself?
Yeah, you could probably say that. Yeah. I don't really have one role model. I've got like a few, not just in cycling, like loads of people that I can take kind of good points from, that I'd kind of try and emulate.
Who's your biggest one then, if you had to pick one role model? Doesn't have to be cycling.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have a biggest one. Really.
And Red, yours?
Role models in cycling, probably a few. Like, I aspire to be like a really good sprinter, so there's a few. Obviously Cav massively. Sam Bennett at the moment is doing really well. Gaviria, just a fan of all the sprinters really.
And if you could ride with one rider in the Madison, who would it be?
Cav, yeah.
Will?
Either Ilio Kaiser or Kenny De Kettler. They know what they're doing.
So they can do all the tactical moves, and you can just ride as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Cool. So back to this track racing. We are obviously here at the London 6 Day, day 2. You're not riding together, but how are you both individually getting on with your own partners in the competition after day 1?
Pretty well. My legs haven't been as good as they've liked, but my partner's been absolutely flying. So he's sort of picked up the side, and we're still on the lead lap overall, which is good. So yeah, still in contention.
Nice. Will?
We're on the lead lap, 5th at the moment. We've missed a few points here and there, but still in a decent position. But me and my teammate Matt Burke, I think this is his first race of this style, doing a 6 day. It's my second or third, so I could say I'm probably a bit more experienced, but yeah, it's quite good. Enjoying it. We're both doing alright.
You actually had a get down yesterday. What happened?
So I think one of the There's a big mix of abilities here. There's like a couple of guys which could probably be fine in the elite race, and then a few others that just probably haven't ridden the track for years and just forgotten about discipline and looking after everybody else. So they're just turning left and right all over the place. And I was moving around the bunch. Someone got a bit startled by a little flick in the bunch and turned right really hard, and I just went into his back wheel, ruined a Mavic 5-spoke, and
Oh dear.
couple of burns, but yeah. It's
Ready
just,
to go today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. So we'll end with goals for the future. Obviously, I touched on that you're both young riders. What are the big ambitions for the future?
There's a few. Like if we're talking like top of the list, like best ambition, win Tour de France stages. That's like the ultimate dream of like an ideal sprinter career, I guess.
Will?
Initially, it would be to turn pro for like a British continental team or maybe more. But in the next few years, it's Commonwealth Games. It's reasonably local one in Birmingham. A medal there is my ultimate goal for the next few years.
Dream big, that's what I say. Well, thank you both so much for joining us here on the Zwift podcast, and good luck for the rest of the racing at London 6 Day.
Thank you. And oh, sorry, can I just do a quick shout out to my YouTube channel, The Redster? Give me a subscribe.
Yeah, I don't have any shout outs apart from Welsh cycling in general. They've been big help to my career anyway, so
we love
thank
shout
you very
outs.
much. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Hey guys, so I'm back again on day 2 of the London 6 Day, and I bumped into some very special riders who I'm very lucky to be sat with now for my 3rd chat of the week. Theo Reinhardt and Max Baer. Thank you for joining me. How are you both?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
You mentioned to me you didn't speak great English. You sound good to me. Did you learn at school?
Yeah, at school, and sometimes with the other guys on the track, we have to speak English too. So yeah, that's my lessons.
And you, Max?
Yeah, also in the school, and then when we use it in a peloton or
when you're
bit
shouting
outside.
at each other
Yeah.
to move out the way or
Yeah.
something like that. So back to cycling. Theo, you are the current World Madison champion. How did it feel to win your first World Championships?
Yeah, the first world title was very impressive. Was a little bit surprise. The second one was more controlled by racing. So yeah, I'm very happy with it, of course, and it feels like so good when you have the stripes on your tricot. And
Do you feel more pressure as world champion now, or do you just like to enjoy it and be the big dog on that track?
no, when you're the world champion, you want to perform good every race. Of course, you don't want to lose. So it's a little bit more pressure, but yeah, it makes more fun because you know now what is possible, and that's why I'm like it very much to wear the stripes.
Nice. And Max, you've recently come back from knee surgery. Can you tell us a little bit about why and what you had done there?
Last year when the time was 6 day London, and I was in training in Mallorca, and then my knee feels from day to day not very good. And then I go home, and then they say, you have a tumor under the knee, and that one have to remove, and after that I can cycle normal. And now I hope I do good with Theo.
Yeah, well, you obviously are going well. You recently won a bronze medal at the European Games. How did that go together? Was it the first time you've raced a Madison in a major competition together?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, we go for the German championships in summer together. Won the title, German. And international races, it was the first time, but it went very well. Yeah, Max did a very good job. And we are was very happy with it.
That's really good, because obviously you usually race with Roger. So could that be a new potential pairing for the Olympics?
Yeah, of course. Max is a very good rider. He has many times sitting in a point race on Omnium. So of course, he's such a young guy, but they're definitely an option when Roger or me is ill or something. So I think then Max is definitely somebody who can join the team.
Yeah, and I think if you have options, that's such a major advantage for a nation, especially coming into the Olympic year. So I think that'll work really well for you both. So going back to how you both got into cycling, Max, let's start with you.
I was 5 years old, and then I see a road race in Berlin, and then I said to my parents, okay, I want to do it also, and then I never do another sport. I start cycling.
Wow, and you, Theo?
Oh, it's a little bit longer, the story. I were at holiday with my parents on a main place in Germany. It's called Müritz. It's there are many seas and or lakes, better. And there we are doing many tours with the bikes. And afterwards, my parents saying, how is it? Do you want to go to a team or to an what is club? Yeah, club. And then I will go there and start cycling at the club, and it went very well. And now I'm a cyclist.
Never look back. So back to this week's racing. We are obviously day 2 of the London 6 Day. How was yesterday for you both? Good legs so far?
Yeah, we won the first race. Was very good for us. Because then we're in a very good position. So now we are second or third, second place. It is, the legs were not bad, not good, but we will see the next days. You have been good 6 days, and we will see.
Max, did you suss out who you think your main rivals will be at this competition?
Yeah, I think for sure Mark, and also the Italian guys with Elia, but also the Netherlands who won here last year. I think that's a main
rivals.
Yeah,
and what's special about a 6 day compared to normal track racing that you see at a World Cup or a World Championships?
More music. It's you have sometimes more fun because the crowd, it's another crowd like the World Cups or World Championships, so they are cheering for more riders, not for the national. When we have World Championships in Poland, then there are many Polish guys, they are cheering for the Polish guys, and here is the crowd cheering for everybody, and that makes it a little bit different. And a lot of music, a lot of fun, and a good sport, and I think that's different.
Okay, and we'll finish with a question of goals for 2020. So we'll start with you, Max.
Yeah, I hope I can go to the World Championships first, and then maybe I hope also for the Olympics.
Amazing. And you, Theo?
Yeah, first the World Championships, of course, but the big dream is the Olympics, of course, in the medicine. That's a big goal, and I hope I can do it with Roger very well, like the last 2 World Championships, and that's the dream.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for joining me, guys, and good luck for the rest of the 6 day and the rest of your cycling career.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So this is my 4th chat of the week so far, and it's still only day 2, but now it's time to introduce last year's winners. Juri Havik and Wim Strottinger from the Netherlands. Welcome, guys. You are both veterans of track cycling, and I remember racing and seeing you both competing myself. So can we start with introducing yourselves to our listeners, please?
I am Juri Havik, and I'm riding with tracks since I'm 40 years old. That's been 40 years because I'm 28. And last year we won here the 6 day in London, and we do a lot of 6 days, so that's about it. 6 day riders.
Yeah, my name is Wim Strottinger. I'm riding my bike since my age of 8, so it was in 1993, so a long time ago, and still riding, 34 now, and last year winners, and hopefully this year again.
Wim, I did some research earlier and found you won Junior Worlds on the track in 2002. Has time gone fast?
Yeah, time's gone really fast, because I know back in the days, I thought like, yeah, okay, I will be world champion at the pros later on. But now I'm already 34 and it didn't happen.
Still a goal for you?
Not really anymore. It was a dream before, and now it's more like when it happens, it's really, really nice. When it's not, it's also okay.
How's the sport changed since you first started riding?
When I first started, was really riding on smaller gears. I think it changed around 2012, I think, when actually Chris Hoy went on bigger gears in the sprint, and then the endurance riders went bigger also, and that changed it a lot because you needed to do some extra training in the gym and to ride bigger gears also, and it was pretty hard for me in the beginning, but now I'm getting better in it.
I know for me, when I was racing on the track and the road, gym was a big program, a big part of my training. Is that something you both enjoy doing as part of your training ultimately for the track?
No, I love riding my bike, and the gym is really something you have to do if we do it, and I also not do it a lot. But I'd rather put like a massive gear on my track bike and do a bit of power training that way or up a mountain. So yeah, I'd rather be on my bike than inside in a gym.
Wim, do you like gym training?
Also not really, but sometimes I do because it's not that you have to ride your bike every day then. So sometimes it's okay, but most of the times when the weather is nice, you're like, okay, I have to go to the gym, but actually it's nicer to ride your bike today.
Yeah, for sure. So the Dutch are arguably the best cycling nation. I always get asked how. Can you tell us the secret why the Dutch are so good at cycling?
Yeah, I think because every Dutch kid is cycling. I think I rode a bike on my second year. So yeah, I don't know if every 2-year-old British kid is riding a bike, but in Holland everyone rides bikes to schools, to everywhere. And yeah, Wim and me both started racing when you were 8 or 9. So also the youth scene is quite big and kids learn to handle their bikes really well. And that's a really important part, I think.
And you, Wim?
I think it's what you said, because in Holland we're riding our bikes when we were just born.
Almost in your blood. So as reigning champions of the 6 day, do you feel pressure coming back this year to retain your title?
Yeah, sure. Last year the field was also really strong with the world champions also on the podium. But then this year with Caleb Ewan, Mark Cavendish, Elia Viviani as Olympic champion. Yeah, then the pressure is on to be good again. And like last night we were not bad, but in the end you are 6th. So yeah, that's also possible.
Have you changed your tactics at all from last year, or will you go in with the same sort of tactics this year?
Actually the same tactics, only we have more teams to watch than last year. But actually every 6 day the tactics are the same.
So what makes a 6 day so special compared to other track racing? What is it that you two both love? Obviously you've done a lot of 6 days in the past. What is it that you love about a 6 day?
I love that you can win like 6 times a night. So it's
very greedy.
Yeah, every 10 minutes you have an opportunity, or every half an hour have an opportunity to get points or to win a race, and yeah, that feeling is really good. And also with the crowds really like reacting on what you do. So yeah, in important championships you're not gonna do stupid things, but here sometimes you're like excited and do kind of a stupid attack, and then the crowd reacts and it works out, and then it was not that stupid, and that interaction with the crowds in 6 days, that's really cool.
Nice. So Wim, can you tell us what makes a good 6 day rider?
I think you have to stay motivated every day. That's the most important. So every day you have to be motivated as it's the first day, and I think that's the hardest part of being a 6 day rider.
And for the listeners, the racing starts at about 6-7 o'clock in the evening and doesn't finish until 10-11 o'clock at night. How do you fuel for this type of race?
It's not too bad. In old-fashioned 6 days they go until 2 a.m. in the night. But you get used to that rhythm. So you wake up like 2 hours later than normal at home. You eat your breakfast a bit later. You go into the city for a coffee 2 hours later than you do at home, and then you race at night. It's just what you use yourself to do day by day, but
And throughout the race, what sort of thing do you eat? Do you use caffeine? Can you sleep after?
Yeah, not too much caffeine because otherwise you can't sleep. But yeah, you take one more coffee than normal after dinner, yeah.
Okay, so Wim, if you were to win or, in cycling competitions when you've been aiming for a big race and you do well, do you treat yourself with a big slap-up meal after, or is there kind of a guilty pleasure that you like to go to after a race, a beer or special food?
Yeah, it will be a beer. Food has to be good, so not like McDonald's or something. I don't really like that. The food has to be good, and the beer also has to be a really good one.
Have you found a good one in London yet?
I don't know. Actually, tonight we had one good one, but we'll see.
So already tonight, before you're racing, you're on the beer?
No, yesterday, last night, not
after.
tonight. Yeah, after the race.
Okay, good. And to finish off with, goals for 2020. Are you both aiming for the Olympics? What are the big goals?
For me, maybe the Olympics, but it's not really a big chance. So just for the winter again. I'm getting old now, so I just want to relax a little bit more also.
Lovely. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Good luck for tonight, the rest of the 6 day, and the rest of your cycling careers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've been waiting for this chat, and I'm personally so excited to hear from this next guest. Arguably one of the fastest men on two wheels, the one and only Mark Cavendish. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
What do you mean, arguably? Hey, Danny?
Arguably, as in you are the fastest man on two wheels.
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Who would you say is faster than you then?
There's a few at the minute, but you know.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So we're going to start a bit differently. Can you describe yourself in 3 words to me, please?
Don't piss off.
Don't piss off you. That's funny, actually, because you know what? My next question, right? I feel like you've been misrepresented by the media in the past as being hot-headed. I'm lucky to know what a genuinely lovely guy you are. Does that annoy you at all?
No, you know, it's... To be fair, I was a dick when I was younger, like, you know. But as you get older, you learn things, you get families, and you learn... You know, when people are just doing everything you want because, say you've got on a bike, arguably you're the fastest guy in the world, you know. But no, so everyone's different when they're young, you know, especially when you're in a kind of a system, you know. When you get older, you kind of grow out, and unfortunately I'm still paying for that. But made a nice character, didn't it? You know.
Exactly. Clearly a family man. Since becoming a dad, has that changed your outlook on cycling?
No, not really. Nah, like, it's my job. It's what I'm fortunate that I can give him a good life from it. It's hard to be away in that, but I'm not the only dad in the peloton. I'm not the only dad that has to be away from his kids, you know, from his family. But nah, like, and I never really thought about anything other than me riding. But Casper, the littlest one, like, you've met him, haven't you? Like,
yeah.
He's obsessed with cycling.
And
like, he's
you,
1.5. Yeah, me. He's my little mate. Like, he's the only one, like, out of him and Peter, my wife. Out of all the kids and Peter, my wife, he's the only one that I know is going to be, like, absolutely bouncing like a dog to see me when I get home, you know. Like, I love him to bits. But yeah, he's obsessed with cycling. Like, kicks his little feet on the bike. He came to the 6 day the other night on the first night. This morning he was just going around the dining room table on his balance bike. He's only 18 months, like, and he's going around in circles now because he's seen Dad do it. You know, it's pretty cute. But that kind of stuff has given me a different perception of cycling. You know, that it's not just my job. It's like my kids want to do it. It's pretty special.
Yeah, that's amazing because if you didn't know, my dad went to 2 Olympic Games and he's been my role model growing up. So, you know, you get asked all the time, like, who were your role models when you were younger? And I just know, obviously, for him, it will be you. And I feel like that's so special for him to have you as a role model. His dad, like, no one else out there but you. It'll be.
I don't know, like,
so nice.
As long as, like, for me, it's more important to be a good father than a good cyclist. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, as long as they're happy, you know. And and they're proud to call me a dad rather than proud to call me dad the cyclist.
Of course. So I once met a sporting idol who upset me by giving me no time to have a photo, and it's clear how much
I'm
time
sorry.
you give.
I'm
not
sorry.
you, not you. Yeah, it's clear how much time you give your fans, especially kids. Has that always been something that's important to you?
You know, when I was young, like when I was real young, like I wasn't a cycling fan. Like I loved being on a bike. Knowing my family cycled, so I wasn't, you know, I didn't really do it. So I started racing. Something that captivated me when I was a teenager was kind of how close you could get to the athletes. And we had Alaman Cycle Week. Do you remember Alaman Cycle Week?
I never went actually.
Oh.
I didn't start cycling until I was a bit older.
Okay.
So.
Like it was wicked though, and they had the British Time Trial Champs there. Once Dave Miller was over and he ran for Cofidis at the time. I must have been 13 or 14. And I was just rocking around on me bike and like a little tracksuit on, you know, just this little scally milling around watching this race. And Dave was warming up for the time trial. At the time, obviously, I didn't click on how important the warm up is for the race. It's just the pro was there by his car warming up, and I went up and asked for a photo. He got off his bike, give me a photo. Went in the boot of the car and got me these like little, you know, the photo cards they had, like the autograph cards. So give me a few of them. There was him, there was Frank Vandenbroek, and give me a Cofidis hat. We had a photo, and you know, I always remembered that. So you have Dave to really like I look back now and I was a bit cheeky, like going up that time. I didn't understand. I was a bit cheeky going to someone warming up from the national time. Give me the time, and that's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing about cycling. And it says something about Dave as well. He didn't know me then, and I'm glad to say we're friends now, you know. But that real stuck in my mind, that it meant so much to me, that it means stuff to me. Unfortunately, the hardest thing, Dani, is you can't stop for everyone.
Yeah.
And you could be there for an hour and someone will rock up at the 59th minute and doesn't know you've been there an hour, and you yourself got to go, like, and they get pissed off and they make you out to be a bit of a dick, you know. And you're like, that kind of stuff hurts a bit, because I think it's an absolute pleasure to, you know, to interact with fans, to, you know, when people are genuinely excited, like, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice that you had the positive kind of, I guess, experience that made, you know, it important for you to speak to fans, but I had the opposite. Not that I've ever been as big a star as you, but from having that negative experience, that made me think, you know, if anyone ever does want my autograph, which doesn't happen very often.
You have to tell me who it is when we turn the microphone on.
I will. So back to the 6 day. We're at London 6 day. What makes you personally want to race here?
It's at home. I haven't raced on this velodrome that much, Dani, you know. Like, you've raced here, obviously. You've won here and that. I won our first time I rode here was the World Championships in 2016, wasn't it? And I've only done 2 6 days since. I haven't trained here, but obviously, like, you know as well as I do, like, racing at home is always special. Like, even if it's not the biggest race in the world you're racing at, if it's a local race, like, racing at home is brilliant. It's what you grew up doing, you know it, and you understand the people who come and watch, you know. There's different demographics of fans wherever you go in the world, isn't there? And, around track cycling, the British are pretty special, you know, especially in this arena. Like, you know, this London Velodrome was built, the architecture is based around providing the best acoustics, and when the crowd's going a bit crazy, like, it's pretty special atmosphere.
It is. I remember actually, before I raced at the Olympics, I heard the British crowd roar for the first time, and I was sat next to Laura and I literally started crying, and I said to her, how on earth am I going to get on that track tomorrow and race at the Olympics, because I can't even hear myself think. Like, it's exactly like you say,
how much extra do you get from doing it when you're getting goosebumps now, are you? It's nice, isn't it?
It is nice, yeah, no, and it is that, exactly, when you are racing and you can get your head around it, it's amazing. It feels like they're pushing you, like, behind you. So yeah, okay, what's your favourite event on 6 day?
I like the chases.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Madison rider. If there's a physiology and the makeup of a Madison rider, like, if I say so myself, I fit it pretty well, you know. Or maybe the traditional Madison, like the UCI fucked up a bit with that 10 lap shit and that. Like at the end of the day, like Madison originated from 6-day racing, you know, and 6-day racing. It's about getting laps, isn't it? You know, over points. Like it's about getting laps. They only improved points for like 30-40 years after Madison started, and so for taking laps, like that feeling, you know, when you're hanging it off a lap and it starts to bite, you know you have to get on. Like it's different at any sprint.
Yeah.
You know, it's for me, I love it. Like obviously, spectator-wise, the elimination race is always the best. They like Dernies as well. Elimination is, but it's good to ride when you're going good, but it's just like it's pretty scary. Like for me, it's another thing how an elimination race can be in the Olympics. Like Olympics go about going faster or higher, longer. For elimination race is about messing everybody else up. It's it's a good spectator race, but in the Olympics, I don't know.
Not about pure performance, really, is it? So what advice would you give kids or adults who want to be track riders without having access to the track? You're obviously from the Isle of Man, didn't have a track, so how did you train for the track?
When I first come to the track, I'd won like the under 14 British champs, and there's somebody who said like, I'll come and do the track champs. A bit nervous, like, you know. I come over, borrowed a bike, like massive bike, had me saddle on the top tube and that, and I won everything. I just went full gas. It was just racing at the end of the day. The thing about the track, like, you can get as strong as you want, but it's pure. You're one with the bike and that, aren't you? So you have to know how to ride it. That's what makes it special. There's no external factors. There's no wind. There's no terrain. There's fewer riders, obviously. It's just pure. And I don't know.
Rollers? Leg speed? If they haven't got access to a track, training wise?
Just get fit. That's it. You need to. In all honesty, like, sorry to be a bore, but
you need
a little bit of track.
Yeah.
Like I was in Mallorca last week, like just on the track, I was just doing hours behind the journey just to get that leg speed. I don't think you can replicate. You know, your pelvis changes, moves different than that, doesn't it? Don't know, just getting your legs speed. Rollers would work. I think you do need the fixed gear. Rollers is probably the second best thing, but with a fixed gear.
Okay, 2 questions. You've achieved so much in this sport. What keeps you motivated to keep riding?
I like winning. I've done it for a while, but that's actually a little bit of a different motivation, that I need to win again, you know, before I stop. And I will, like, you know, when you know why you're not winning, you know why you are winning, you know. Like, when I used to win, I knew why I won, I knew the work I put in, and now I know why I'm not winning. So it's just winning. For me, that's always been everything. Not even in cycling, like, whole life I wanted to win. And
so that leads me to my last question. Goals for 2020? Win.
That's it.
Anything?
Anything. Win at life, Dani.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks for having me.
Good luck for the rest of the 6th day and, of course, the rest of your cycling
Cheers,
career.
Dani. Thank
you. Okay, so now it's time for a bit of girl power as I welcome our first female onto the 6th Day podcast. I had the pleasure to ride on a team with this lady in 2017. She's been a world champion already at only 22. Raquel Barbieri, thank you for coming and chatting with me. How are you?
Thank you to you. I'm really fine. I'm just arrived in London, so I'm really excited for the next day.
Let's start by introducing yourself to our listeners. Tell us a bit about you.
I'm 22 years old. I started to ride on bike at 5 years old, so it's a long time that I ride. And I love this sport. I love all of this sport. The friends that you can find here, and all that you can learn in this sport, because I think that in generally the sport is really important for your life, and I have found a lot of good things in the cyclist.
You found a very good English language as well. I remember when you first came
Not
on the
really
team.
good, but
You couldn't really speak much English
Yeah.
at all. So in 2 years,
I remember.
you've learned a lot.
I
And what about off the bike? What are you like as a person without cycling?
I really love what cycling can give to you in the competition. Really, when I ride, I really give all myself. I can try to focus in 100%, and I think it's really good. Can do this. Go outside your possibility.
Amazing. How about riding on a team with me? What was it like? Be honest.
Honestly, in the first time was difficult because I was really bad with my English, and your English was really difficult. But for sure, you was super nice girls. I remember also the revolution that I ride with you, and was happy. Was a super nice moment. And in the moment that when I know that you was stopped with the bike, I was also sorry because I said, wow, just 1 year together, and I was sad. But just now I saw you really happy in your work, and I'm happy too.
Oh, you're so nice. So already a world champion at 22. What's the goal now? Because that for some people would be everything that they ever wanted.
Yeah, I think that my world championship was really, really beautiful. Every day I think about it and I say, oh wow, I was really young and it was unexpected. But now I take it like not a point of arrival, but not just a start, a point to start. And I think all rider dream world championship. But also a big dream for a rider is the Olympic, and I think you know really well. So now I dream Olympic Games, and I ride for it, for follow this dream.
I think you can do it. You've got a lot of motivation and heart for the sport. And for those of you who don't know, Raquel won the World Championships on the track in the scratch race. She's a super, super fast rider, but also rides on the road. What do you prefer, track or road?
For sure, track. Yeah, I think now is I'm really focused on the track. So now is this my dream, but maybe in the future we can focus also on the road. I don't know.
What's your favorite race on the track? Is it the scratch race?
Yeah, but I really like Omnium and Madison. Madison is new for the woman, and I really like the atmosphere in the Madison because you really need to focus all time. You ride together, so you are not alone, and I think it's a really nice feeling.
Have you ridden a 6-day before?
Yes, 2 years ago here in London.
With me, I think actually I rode the 6-day then as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super nice because the atmosphere here is super good, and I'm really happy to be back this year.
And what are your goals for this year?
I don't know what I can expect to me in this 6 day, but I hope to ride well. I saw a good level, so for sure will be a fight race. So I hope to do a good Omnium and a good scratch on the last day.
Cool. And obviously being a road and track rider, normally at this period it would be an off-season. Do you get an off-season at all, or are you straight back into the track after this?
I'm right straight from the road, so yeah, my off-season this year I think will not be. I had just do 5 days in holiday this summer, and was good. But I'm happy now to come to start the track
Super
season.
motivated to go.
Super motivated. Yeah.
So we both know how important rest is for athletes. What do you like to do when you're resting, when you're not on the bike on a rest day?
I really like stay with my friend because I have a lot of friends really good that they understand my life. So it's really nice to back home with them. I really like shopping generally, so all time I go, shop to buy some dress. I like travel. I really like travel a lot. But my cycling life can permit you to travel a lot. So yeah, I love also the sea. So when it's possible, I like do a travel.
Do you live near the sea at all in Italy?
No, it's not close to my home. Around 2 hours and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Italians are so strong now. They've got so many riders coming through, young riders, Letitia, Paternoster.
Yeah, the competition is really, really hard now, but it's also nice because you know that you can training with strong riders. So you also know that all competition is really in a good level, and you can try to fight for a medal in all specialty now in Italy.
Yeah, I think that's what made the British so good. It was a fight to get in the team, so that made we all had to fight so hard and train so hard to be the best within our nation, even before we tried to be the best in the world. I think that's why you see the nationalities with more great riders being the best, because they're pushed by everyone else. So with that in mind, is the Olympics on the cards for you next year? A possibility?
I hope. I'm honestly now the team pursuit in Italy is super strong, and I'm not in. But I'm work now for it, and I think all year is different, and I'm working super strong a lot for be ready in the right moment. So I hope.
Amazing. Well, good luck for the 6th day and the rest of your cycling career, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. You too. See you.
My second girl power chat after speaking to Raquel yesterday. Now, this girl has a large number of gold medals and is one of British cycling's most successful riders. Katie Archibald, welcome. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. That's very professional. It's a new context for our conversations. I'm very impressed.
I know. Is this weird that I'm interviewing you?
I know. Yeah, no, I'm blown away. I certainly couldn't do this kind of role myself, as you're about to find out as I bumble into a microphone for 5 minutes. But let's try.
So we won European gold together in 2013, and now I'm interviewing you. Tell us something we don't know about Katie Archibald.
I guess that you carried me round to that medal.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh dear. Yeah, that was my first outing with GB. That shared experience. Is that so? Something you don't know is. No, do you know what? As soon as somebody asks you that, you instantly try and think of something rude, and then you realise you can't say that, and that's all that consumes your mind.
Is it that rude you can't say it?
Is it? This is interesting, I suppose.
Go for it.
So I had my nipple pierced when I was, something like 18, 19, something like that. And then when I broke my wrist in a Madison crash, I had to have an operation to get metal put in it, and when they put you into the operation, they say you can't have any metal in because we now need to put you in an MRI. So the nipple piercing closes up, and about a couple months I go and get it redone. And the parlour that I go to, the person redoing the nipple piercing, it was like Cowboy Builders. He's going, oh, I can see the person that's been here last time. They've done this, they've done that. So I've just sorted it, I've just straightened it out for you, and there you go. And it was the most surreal experience. So presumably you haven't seen my nipples and you don't know that.
No, I feel like I've missed out though.
Yeah. Well, you might have. You've probably seen my nipples actually, but you in the headphones, you haven't.
No, the Zwift podcast listeners probably haven't. Anyway, moving on. We are here at London 6 days. It's nice to be back in London. Apart from the traffic getting here.
Yeah, I always find it quite intimidating, London. Big smoke. The events that are held here are usually high pressure events. It's a big deal. Like, you can see all the seats around us. People, they come for a spectacle. And this is all good stuff, really. Like, it's high pressure, and that's that's what you sign up for. So yeah, my heart rate's going, but I feel excited about it, even if my stomach's doing butterflies.
Well, that's strange because my next question was, do you feel the pressure after winning last year? You obviously won this event last year.
I won it, I think, the year before.
Okay.
So I've been here twice and I've won it twice. But I wasn't here last year. I can't quite remember why. I think it clashed with the World Cup. So my first experience of London 6 Day was kind of going head to head with Nia Evans when she was just new on the scene and winning everything. Like I say, new on the scene, she was new on the top step of the podium. And now we're back here as partners, and that's kind of cool. I was looking through pictures to post on Instagram of me and Nia together, and all of them, it's us like sprinting against each other, like going head to head. And now it'll be holding hands instead, and I'm looking forward to it.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
As British cyclists, there's always an expectation to win. Well, I always felt that there was. How do you deal with that? Do you think the same? Do you feel the same?
Yeah, and it's something that's, well, it is a privilege to have a jersey that means everyone's looking at you, because that is what it means. So I think I pity more the younger riders that'll get say like a debut at a World Cup, or they'll get an outing somewhere, and because they're in that kit, they're not going anywhere, which is a mark of respect to the team and a mark of respect to the depth that we have, that people can say, oh, I don't recognize that name on the program, but it's a British rider, so that's a good wheel to follow. That's so yeah, it is a lot of pressure, but it's not undue, and I feel like we've earned it, so it's quite nice.
Yeah. Hardest thing about being an athlete?
This sounds stupid because we're not really in the public eye, but I don't.
Being famous?
Well, not being. Yeah, no, no, that's not the hardest thing.
Do people recognise you in the street?
No, it's more things like, I guess, your online life. You're kind of accountable to stuff, aren't you? Which makes you not want to have an online life, because it's not just...
Although I do enjoy your social media posts. And also, I've written down here, I enjoy reading your Cycling Weekly articles.
Oh, good.
Do you enjoy writing?
I love writing. I don't always like reading it afterwards, but it's because it's every week. It's a real hit and miss show, but that's what it's meant to be. No, I love writing, and I really like the deadline as well. I like that it forces me into every week having to just engage brain a little bit.
Like you're back in school again.
I suppose, back in school, but you can try and sneak funny stuff in, so it's quite nice. I'm glad to hear you're a fan. Thank you very much.
Okay, the best and worst cycling memory you have?
The best cycling memory is the last lap at the Rio Olympics. It was, well, everyone says this, but it's an indescribable feeling, and I'm not religious or anything, but it was a moment kind of higher to anything I've ever experienced, so that was my best.
So while you were still riding, or when you crossed the finish line?
No, it all left when I crossed the finish line. It was that last lap.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Just something else, just when you kind of access something within yourself. And you just get the small glimpse of something otherworldly, I suppose. Just that much effort. And it's, of course, the importance attached to it and all the work that's gone into that point, and it all gets released in these final 15 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, I'd wait another 4 years to do it again. So, my worst moment on a bike, it's probably good news that nothing jumps out, right? That should
be very good.
Yeah. You can sort of generalize bad times, and I think that's why it hurts more, that it's when you've had months and months of just low level performance and months of questioning yourself, and there won't be one pinpoint of, oh, there was that race I lost, because you can get over one loss, but it's really hard to get over an entire season of demoralization. And to be honest, I've kind of been just coming out of that at the moment. I was on a high coming out of Rio, so the 2017-18 season was just exceptional for me. Really, Rio was a springboard, it wasn't a peak, it was a springboard. And I'm kind of on the other ebb of that, and hoping to reset things coming into this season, and obviously towards the next games.
Amazing. So I know that you love turbo and turbo training. Have you tried Zwift?
Yeah, no, it seems stupid that I haven't. I guess maybe because...
You would love it. I'm going to put it out there. You would absolutely love it. I know how much you love the turbo.
I think the way that it's been framed for me is people saying, oh, I can distract myself with Zwift, or I can do a turbo session when usually I'd find it boring. And so maybe that's why I've been slow in the uptake, because I already love it. I didn't have any problem with your traditional turbo trainer, so I've not upgraded. But no, I am interested, and especially now with the races and stuff. And
there's a World Championships next year, e-racing. You'd be very good at that.
I am a supporter, if that's what, like the fact that there's somehow an ethical divide in the e-racing world and the non-e-racing world. I think it's really cool. I've actually been in a house where my brother's been doing a Zwift race, and it was so surreal to have. My mum was watching the race in the kitchen, and my dad was in the turbo room shouting at my brother, all like, "Oh, what are you doing now?" And I'm like, "Leave him alone, he's racing." Like the fact you can be racing and your dad's there bugging you. Which, like I say, it's totally surreal.
He could have been racing him, maybe. That's another beauty of it. Your dad could have been racing your brother in the same race.
No, for sure, that you definitely, because he loves it, saying all like, "Whoa, there's a 3-minute hill climb, I definitely beat you, John." Oh, fuck it. Oh, sorry. But, yeah. So no, I need to get on a virtual start line at some point.
You do. What about road ambitions?
Road ambitions, I guess off the back of that, what I was saying earlier of low lights and when a season feels like it's got you down, road last year really didn't do fantastic things for my head. It was just a series of unfortunate events that made me kind of fall out of love with it. And it always seemed natural as an ambition to go into road, and I think kind of like what you've done of making a solid career. It's really hard to divide your time between track and road, and obviously the greats navigate that really, really well. I guess Kirsten's epitomizes that, to have somehow been consistently one of the best in the world in both.
Although I think it has taken her time to do it.
Yeah.
If you think over the last couple of years, she hasn't quite got to that top spot, and it's only been probably the last 18 months where she's really been able to work out how to do it, and through training programs and having breaks at the right time. Because I think, like you say, the majority of people that I do speak to think that it's pretty much impossible to be on the top step, as in World Championships, Olympics, in both.
Yeah, you start to wonder whether somebody like Kirsten's just a once-in-a-generation talent, or, like you say, it takes... Well, yeah, she seemed to reach the form of her life. She's 34 or 35?
She is an older athlete as well.
Yeah, that was really cool that year. I guess it was 2018, wasn't it, where she just cleaned up at Track Worlds. So yeah, of course, I guess I'd love to be that talented, because everybody would. But at the moment, I'm more interested in trying to solidify a career as a professional track cyclist. Interested in the changes UCI are making to the World Cup program. Well, in fact, it's a Nations Cup. What's this winter series going to be like, and how are events like 6 Day going to expand and open that door so that you can function as a professional on the track? That's my aspiration.
So that leads me into my last question. Goals for 2020 obviously is Olympic year again. I can't believe how fast it all goes.
I know.
What are the ambitions?
I want to be in the team pursuit team, and I want to be one of the Madison pair. I settled on that last year, maybe more than a year ago. So I was coming off the back of, like, in 2017, I was World Omnium Champion, and I guess it wasn't the stress, but I just rationally believe that taking on the workload of all three as a target is just too much. And we want to be Olympic champions in a team pursuit, and we want to be Olympic champions in a Madison. We don't want to try our best, we want to win. And I think to fulfill that ambition, for me, I'm just going to focus on team pursuit in Madison. It's I'm only going to try and win 2 Olympic gold medals. But it doesn't mean that events like this, I'm not still trying to kind of get my nose in about it in the Omnium. Actually, to be honest, to everyone else that probably sounds obvious, but in our squad setup, because we're so Olympics obsessed, it's a kind of odd dynamic. But it does mean that myself and Nia are both aspiring to be in that Madison team. There's about 5 contenders for Great Britain, all of which are here at 6 Day London, which is cool. And try and probably focus on that mainly this weekend. That's where I would be proudest to get away with a win.
I wouldn't want to be one of those selectors, that's for sure. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Good luck in this 6-day and also for the rest of your cycling career.
Oh, good. Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks.
There we go. Well, all end of the spectrum there, wasn't it? Got a good perspective from some of the young guys, talking about their future aims, kind of, wanting to turn pro at some point. Obviously, how big a challenge that is to break through into the pro ranks. But good luck to the young guys, I guess.
Yeah, good luck. It was really great to speak to them. They're clearly so motivated to race and become, future world champions or ride a Tour de France in the future. So, yeah, I really hope that they pursue what they're dreaming of.
Greg, I found this really interesting point, and we've spoken about it quite a bit with Kev. The Dutch riders talking about how the sport has changed, and the one key point they both spoke about was bigger gears, and the fact that it's kind of led by Chris Hoy in the sprinting, and that trend has now moved across into endurance riding too. Bigger gears travel faster.
Well, I mean, you could even go back further than that. If you look at Graham O'Brien, I mean, he was the first guy pursuing on a 108-inch gear, and people thought he was mad. But I mean, was he actually mad? That's where the sport's gone now. Every guy's lining up in the individual pursuit on a 108-inch gear or more. So yeah, it's the development of the sport. They're power athletes now. You look at I remember as a young kid, you need a good road base, and if you had a great road program, you'd have a leg up going into the track season. Whereas nowadays, that's not so much the case. You're actually more of a power athlete, a lot more time in the gym. It's the road cycling and track cycling have actually almost become almost separate sports. Obviously they're different events, but now you actually train so differently for them.
Yeah, and obviously the gym is a very specific thing, a bit like Marmite. Some people love it, being in that environment. Some people don't enjoy it. And the Dutch guys, they were saying they just don't like being in the gym. They're kind of that old school traditionalists where they like doing their training on the bike. And they mentioned about for their power training and their strength training, they do some of it on the bike, basically lumping a massive gear on and doing standing starts and those type of efforts on the track, as opposed to going to the gym and doing leg presses and stuff. And I guess it's a functional movement, so there's got to be some value in doing that. It's just funny how culturally, GB, I think Australia are the same. Track is to perform on the track. Going to the gym is a must. It's just part and parcel of track cycling.
Did you say it was like Marmite?
The gym.
How is the gym like Marmite?
Have you tried it?
What, gym or Marmite?
What do you think of the gym? Yeah. What do you think of the gym, Greg?
I love it, but what do you mean? What do you mean it's like Marmite?
There we go.
So you've obviously not heard of the saying. So in the UK, the saying is Marmite, you either love it or hate it. And that is the strap line. So on adverts on the telly, Marmite, you either love it or hate it.
Well, hang on.
What
about Vegemite? Do you like Marmite or Vegemite?
I've never tried Vegemite.
So I hate it, yeah.
So...
Hate it. Oh, I thought that was like a global advert. It's a British thing, is it? I'm glad you picked me up on that, Greg.
What do you mean? It's like
people would be thinking, what is he on about?
Marmite.
Yes, brilliant. But yeah, and what else did the Dutch say? We had a good chat. Yeah, just talking about why the Dutch are so good at cycling. Basically, the culture of the sport, where we grew up in Wales with a rugby ball in our hands. I guess you do as well. Most of Europe, football. Dutch is cycling a massive part of Charles.
You just go to Holland though, and you look at the infrastructure on the roads for riding a bike. It's just set up 100% for cyclists. When you go through a roundabout or down a left or right hand street, you have to give way to the cyclist. If you're driving a car, the car drivers have to give way to cyclists. So it's it's just set up for. And I remember one of the funny sayings when we were racing over in Europe. It was always, when we'd go and race in Holland, it was always Holland is fantastic. It's set up for riding your bike, but Holland is not set up for racing your bike. There's so much street furniture when you're racing your bike. With bike lanes and then roundabouts and road furniture everywhere.
Dutch again, Wim Strugina, obviously been around a long time. He said he's 34, I think he said he was. And he dreamt about being world champion and all that. talking about what are the key attributes for making a good 6-day rider. And he said motivation, race in, race out, doing 4 or 5 races a night for 6 days on the bounce. That's a lot of racing. You've got to be super motivated for 6 days straight. And it kind of reminded me like of stage races. To be a good stage racer, you need to be physically strong as well, but motivated as well. So every time every day you're motivated to perform and hurt yourself. And like Zwift racing, when you do these Zwift tours, like Tour Watopia, you come home from work sometimes and you're not super motivated. You're tired. Perhaps you had a bad day in work. And I know if you're not motivated and you can't G yourself up and get yourself motivated, you're not going to perform. So that kind of motivational aspect being a key attribute for 6-day riders and cyclists, that resonates with me.
Yeah, I also think it's important to be able to pick yourself up throughout 6 days. You're going to have good days and bad days and bad races, and it's the ability to be able to turn that, mental side of things around to then be able to get back on the track, forget the last bad race, and then go out and perform again, rather than, letting that become the better of you, having a bad race, and then ultimately that having then a knock-on effect for the rest of the 6 days.
It's if you take it another step further too, like 6-day riders, that's actually like their career, and they pack it into a couple of months at the end of a road season. So they go from one 6-day, they might go to Copenhagen, then they go to Berlin, then they go to London, then they go to Ghent. So it's 6-day on top of 6-day on top of so it's really, really draining. It's really fatiguing. I can imagine riding 6 or 7 6 days. You'd be just absolutely dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for long. And we spoke before about the road season extending, becoming longer and longer, creeping into. I mean, it's obviously still road racing going on now. The season's just finished. So yeah, cycling is just 24/7, isn't it? What about Cav then? Touch upon Cav. Not much more to say really. I think there's a good 12-13 minutes of chat in the podcast. Good bloke. Good to see him. Super motivated to perform next year with his new team, Bahrain Meridia. So that'd be super cool to see him. See him hungry, and hopefully he will notch up that win that he's obviously he's stated how hungry he is for it.
Yeah, it was so nice to talk to him. Actually, he was in such good form, such a nice guy. It's interesting to how he was saying how it annoys him when he stands around for hours for fans, and then one fan might come along at the last minute when he's already been there for ages, and he can't, and he needs to go, and then he looks so bad, feels so bad, but ultimately can't be there for everyone, but really, really tries. And I think that's, it's very, very apparent in the media that he really takes time for his fans, but then also obviously this real will to win again and being super motivated. I know he's not going to have a break in the off season after missing out on the tour this year. And I think he wants to start the season sort of all guns blazing. So I definitely wish him, and we wish him all the best for next year.
He's the consummate professional, isn't he? On and off the bike. I think that makes a great athlete. And just the way he was racing as well, it's incredible to watch. He had that fire back end. He had that top end speed where he was often coming around the outside of Viviani, the Olympic champion. It's great to see. It's and last time, I think it was 2016 or 2015 when he did a large track block before the Tour de France. I mean, he was absolutely untouchable. He took the yellow jersey in the Tour. He won the first stage. So yeah, he knows what gets him going good. He's putting everything in place that he can to have a fantastic season next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't not mention the Olympic champion, Omnium champion, Elia's track bike. His gold track bike. Have you seen that, Greg?
Yes, there's a bit of bling there, isn't it?
It's a bit of bling. I mean, do you like it? Do you rate it?
I do. I reckon it's beautiful.
Because I think it's a bit like Marmite, that bike, isn't it? You're either going to love it or hate it, mate. But I love it. It's cool. But again, you've got to be something special to pull that bike off.
Well, let's be honest though. It does mean something too. Like, it's the gold of the Olympic gold. It is something special, and that's, you don't get a rainbow jersey like you do when you win a world title for Olympic title. It's you need something special to be from being an Olympic champion, I believe, and that's a special bike.
Absolutely. Well, Dani, Greg, good to chat, guys. I mean, the next episode, we're going to be chatting with Chloe Dygert, or Kristen's chatted with Chloe. So that'll be an awesome episode. So don't miss that. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Please leave us a rating. Ride on. And Greg, Dani, speak to you both soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Catch you later on, guys.